Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this Acer model N1813, I believe. It's hard to read this. Sorry. N18i3. Okay. Predator Helios 300 series. And the model number is on this little thing here, PH317-54-70YD. Alright, so on this, the keyboard is really bad condition. So we're going to be replacing the entire keyboard assembly. Here you can see this one, they made the keys so bad it actually wore a hole through it. I had to pop it out and then put some tape as a kind of workaround temporary. Alright, anyways, let's go ahead and pop this thing apart and see about replacing the keyboard. I don't know why, but the US version of the keyboard is only shipped and sold from outside the US, and then the non-US version is shipped from the US. It doesn't make sense, but this is what it looks like. Okay, it has all this plastic wrapped on top, and it's held in with all these melted plastic dots. That's why I got the entire keyboard assembly, because replacing the bare keyboard itself is a huge pain, right? You can see also it has a little turbo button thingy there. That's just a little plastic cover, and then power button and everything. Okay, so we're gonna have to transfer over a lot of stuff. It has all this protective tape on here to keep it in good condition, and you want to make sure to check the enter key. This is how you know if it's the US version or the non-US version. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and get this thing apart. We're using a PH1 or JIS1 screwdriver to remove all the screws from the bottom. You want to keep all the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and lengths. The way I do that is I put them flat side down like that on my desk in the pattern I remove them, and I just go in like rows. So we got like 4 across here, 4 across here, and then 4 across the bottom. Okay, so I'll just put them in rows of 4 like that. Okay. Those 4. I'll take these 4. You can see the fans are pretty dusty, so we are going to have to clean that up as well. All right. That one. This one. And this one. There we go. Then we got these 4 to remove as well. 2, 3, and 4. Alright, now that we got all those screws out, we're going to have to pop this bottom cover. Hopefully there's no other hidden screws that I missed anywhere. Alright, I don't know what this little caution thing, I don't think there's a screw there, but it says, oh, hot surface, do not touch. Okay, anyways, let's go ahead and see about popping this apart. So, we have the Palmrest assembly area. Most likely it clips in there, so we're going to rotate this over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my fingernails between the Palmrest and the bottom cover, and I'm going to push with my thumbs on the bottom, just like that. You can see it pops out. Alright, obviously if you don't have fingernails, you can use plastic pry tools or whatever works for you. Alright, but this works best for me. Okay, so you can go like that, and then you can see here, it separates right there. So while I'm pulling it up, I'm going to slide my fingernail in there, and we're just going to continue working our way down the side. Okay, it looks like this has, is that just the design? Oh, it has a plastic thing sticking out there, that's the design. And we're going to continue working our way down the side. Keeping constant pressure pulling on it, you can kind of help that way. Alright, so I'm pushing with my thumb and pulling up with my fingers there. I'm going to go over here and continue doing the same. Pull it up and then slide my fingernail along there. Again, you can use plastic pry tools here. You don't have to use fingernails, and this is actually going to destroy the fingernails, so keep that in mind. I like to use fingernails because they grow back and I don't have to worry about replacing them a million times. So, okay. And also, they're always on hand. Alright, so this one is being difficult, but continue pulling up and then sliding the pry tool along. You can see we popped up most of it. Okay. Alright, so let's see if we can kind of wiggle and lift this at all, or if it's still stuck. It still seems to be stuck on something in the middle. Work my way over. I'm trying to pull this up, but it seems stuck on something in the center here. I don't think there's any hidden screws, so that's kind of strange. I'm going to try and pull it again, and then sometimes pushing around on it will release a clip, but I'm not finding anything. So it might just take some force. Let's try and work our way around the back here. Right, most likely it's going to separate there, so let's try and go on that. Yep. All right, again, sliding my fingernails, pushing with my thumb on the back, but don't push too hard on the vents. You don't want to crack that. All right, so there we go. We got that separated. Okay, so now you can see we actually have the whole back separated as well, and it seems there's still some clips in here. So I'm trying to slide this forward here and see if that does anything, and actually that did. So what I did was I grabbed with my palms and kind of like pulled it that way, and you can see it release. So where are the clips in the middle? Okay, so there's a clip here and a clip here. So these clips were holding in, so kind of sliding it forward as you pulled up, got that out. You can see how bad the dust is there, built up, blocking all the vents. You can see how bad it is on here. So I am gonna clean that up first. Let me do that real quick, and then I'll be back. I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, I'm back. So as you can see, I cleaned it up. All right, there's still some kind of stuff on the vent there, but it's kind of like, I don't know, they mix it with grease or something. So it must be they cook a lot of like oily foods or soups or something. So it kind of made the stuff kind of stuck there. You can actually see it on the fan. You see that greasy residue there? But yeah, I cleaned out the dust the best I could. Okay, and yeah. All right, let's go ahead and continue taking this thing apart. We'll get a thumbnail here. Okay, this is going to be quite a bit of stuff to remove. I'm going to zoom in now, and then hopefully we can kind of get a good idea of all the components. So we got the battery here. You can see the model, I don't know, it's really small, but AP18E7M. I'll take this out and then I'll show you kind of a more close-up. So the battery connector's right here. To remove that, we're going to peel this tape up. Okay. I hate when they do this, but right, peel this tape out. Be careful. Try and roll the tape back. Don't pull it straight up because you don't want to damage this, right? And then you can see the wings of the connector here. I use my fingernails at the wings, and then we're just going to kind of wiggle it. Just wiggle, and there we go. So there's the battery connector disconnected. It has this long cable. All right, I'm gonna run out of room on my desk to kind of move this thing around because there's stuff all around it, but let me zoom out and see if you can get it there. All right, so, oops, I forgot to brush some of that dust away. All right, anyways, it looks like there's 3 screws, so we're gonna have to switch over to a PH0 or JS0. All right, and let's go ahead and get these screws out. One there. Actually, are there only 2 screws? One there and one here. Okay, and let's see, will this come out now? Or can I grab it? We'll try and grab it from under here. Okay, it wiggles a little. There's all these tabs, so you gotta kind of pull these away to kind of lift it, it seems. All right, I don't know if there's any hidden screws, but there are these little tabs that you have to kind of pull away so they can go past those little feet. So there we go. Oh, even the bottom of the battery's gross, so let me clean that up. Alright, so there's the bottom of the battery. Again, there's the model number, AP18E7M. Alright, and yeah, we're going to set this aside. Also, if I didn't mention already, if this video helps you out, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. And if it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Right? If you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you can watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. Yeah, other than that, let's continue removing this. Wow, so much dust. Ew. Okay, so we're gonna have to disconnect all this stuff here, and we're gonna have to transfer over the touchpad. So let's see. Let me move some screws out of the way a little bit here so I can slide it a little bit further up. Okay. All right, sorry about that. Oops, I'm knocking the screws over. Again, you want to keep all the screws in order because they are different size, shape, and lengths, and you don't want to mix them up and put the wrong screws in the wrong place. Okay, so let's maybe zoom in a little bit more here. Okay, so we have the touchpad here. It looks like there's 3 screws. You want to make sure you're using the right screw. Don't use the screwdriver if it's too small. I switched back to the PH1 or JS1. we're going to remove the 3 screws here. Okay, 2 and 3. All right, now that we got those 3 screws out, we can lift this metal bar or little bracket out of the way. All right, and I don't know if that, yep, okay, it looks like that thing will kind of lift up. It looks like there might be some screws or something hidden under here as well though, so we'll have to check that. Yep. All right, so make sure to get that as well. And then there's probably one on the other side, but we're gonna have to remove the other things out. So we got that one. Okay, we're gonna have to likely take all of this out. So this is the keyboard connector and keyboard backlight connector, and then I'm pretty sure this is the touchpad. It's going underneath. It's kind of weird. Anyways, there's tape on this as well, so you do have to peel that up. Kind of annoying that they do this. All right, we aren't gonna be reusing the keyboard, so it's probably okay, but let's go ahead and pull this. You see this white tab? Be very careful. You wanna be gentle, I'm using my thumb here to use some leverage to help push it slowly. And then once you pop it, you can go ahead and pull this out, okay? Again, you wanna be very gentle. All right, it looks like this is connected to the motherboard there. So let's go ahead and undo these screws. Again, we're still using the PH1 or JIS1 screwdriver. Okay, get those 2 out, and we should be able to kind of lift this up out of the way. And I'm just gonna leave this attached because we're gonna transfer this whole thing over, but this has the same kind of connector as the keyboard. All right, keyboard backlight connectors here. I flip that latch up. Once you do that, you can actually pull this back. Be very gentle. All right, I'm gonna take these 2 screws out as well. Okay. And if the touchpad cable is attached there, then I'm just gonna take the whole thing out with it. So, oh, okay, actually this is attached to the motherboard here, and the touchpad actually connects to the motherboard here. So the backlight has its own little board that goes here. I don't know why, that's weird. And then they have this for the touchpad. So I'll flip that latch up. I'm gonna move this little board out of the way, and then we're gonna carefully pull the touchpad cable out. Okay, be very careful here. Again, we do have to kind of lift this. You have to lift this up because it has these little plastic posts that stick up, right? So you want to be very careful and gentle with this. So we're going to carefully move this out, lift the backlight cable up out of the way, and we need to get to the touchpad thing under here. Okay, so we're just peeling this up so we can get to the touchpad connection. You got to peel this away. It has a little sticker, double-sided tape. Okay, we're gonna hold this up out of the way, and we're gonna remove this last touchpad screw. Interesting, this, wait, were the other touchpad screws PH0? This one was, or was that only for the battery? I think that was only for the battery. Okay, so now we got all of those out. I think we should be able to remove the touchpad. So I'm gonna carefully actually open the laptop. Okay, and then I'm going from underneath with my hand to push under. You can see we can push under and see if we can lift that. Oh, there might be more hidden screws under here actually. So let's lift this up and flip that out of the way some more. Move the keyboard cable out of the way as well. Okay, touchpad cable out of the way. And yep, there's one more hidden screw in the middle here. So make sure to get that as well. Okay, so we'll get that out, get that screw. And now you can see the touchpad's actually coming out. So you don't have to go from the bottom, you can actually kind of lift from here if you want, but it's probably easier to go from underneath if you open the laptop slightly, and then you can kind of lift this up and pull that out. All right, so here's the touchpad or trackpad, and we are gonna go ahead and transfer this over to the new keyboard Palmrest assembly first, just because it'll be easier since this, like everything else, goes on top of it. This is pretty gross here, so I'm gonna brush this off real quick and I'll be back. See you guys in a bit. Alright, I'm back. So here's the touchpad. I tried to clean the top off as well. I might have to use a little more isopropyl alcohol to clean it better, but there we go. Clean all the edges out. You can see there's no more gross stuff on it. Okay, we're gonna get the new keyboard and then we're gonna migrate this over to it. So let me zoom out a little bit to make it easier to see. Here's the new keyboard. All right, so this is pretty simple, straightforward. This plastic just needs to be up and out of the way, okay? And then this piece just drops in there. So just get it in and just drop everything into place. Okay, just like that. All right, this does have little raised plastic things to help align it. Okay, so if it's not aligned right, it's not going to fall in, so make sure it falls into the plastic little raised mount on both sides. Okay, so there we go. Let me move this out of the way, and then we're going to get the screws back in first, so that way you don't have to worry about so many screws all over the place. Okay, so we got this lined up. Looks good. All right, let's go ahead and get the 3 top screws in, and then the little metal bracket that holds it down as well. Get that one in first. All right, pretty simple. So if your touchpad or trackpad isn't working, this is how you would replace it without, well, you wouldn't get a new keyboard obviously, but you would get a new touchpad, trackpad, maybe the cable itself, and then swap this stuff over. Okay, just like that. All right, so we got the top secured. We're gonna now put this little metal bracket that holds it down. This also triggers the little button. It has this little pad here. So if for some reason this button isn't pressing, it might be this pad is worn down or missing or something. So you want to check for that. You can probably replace it with any, like, I don't know, maybe a piece of cardboard or something, but it's like rubber there. So, all right, we'll get these 3 screws in. Okay. All right, perfect. Now we have the entire keyboard Palmrest assembly. We do need to migrate over a bunch more pieces, so let's go ahead and continue. All right, so next what we have, we actually have the speakers down here, so we are gonna have to remove both of those. Let's zoom out a bit more so you can see both at the same time. All right, so these are just held in with little rubber pieces, so you can actually just lift it up. All right, just like that. And then there's some tape here. Technically this tape isn't needed, but if you want, you can pinch it together to help it to transfer it over at the same time. You can see these little hooks that kind of help hold the cable in place. So you just go over and around the screw, and then same thing over around these screws, and just continue threading this all out, okay? So be gentle. You don't want to rush this and then end up tearing this cable, and then your speaker's not going to work, so go slow. All right, there we go. Now we got some more of this stuff to peel up. Okay, and be careful here. All right, so the second speaker right here, they're both connected with that black and red cable. And then this goes here, so you do want to be careful because the speaker is also hooked over here, so we're gonna have to unroute the cabling there. And then we have the connector over here. So let's zoom in. More tape. I don't know why they like to put tape on everything. It's really annoying, but that's what they did. So let's see. I'll try and peel it from the bottom here so I can leave the other part attached to the motherboard. All right, so we'll peel that up, and then you can see we have access to the wings here, and we're gonna have to go ahead and grab that and wiggle that out. So there we go, and there's the speakers. If you can't access that, you might have to take this bracket off first. We're gonna have to take all of this out anyway, so for now I'm gonna set the speakers aside, and then we're gonna go ahead and continue removing other components. So let's see. So this board's actually separate as well for the 2 USB ports, headphone jack, and the Ethernet port, as well as the what do you call the activity lights, whatever you want to call it. Right, so we're gonna take this middle bracket off. Okay, you can see the metal bracket comes out. Move that aside. As you can see, the charge port is right here. So if you need to remove the charge port to replace it, all you need to do is take out this metal bracket and you can get this out. You do want to do the battery thing. There's one step I kind of skipped, which I should actually do. Since we disconnected the battery, I'm going to open this up and we're going to, oops, I do need to reconnect the keyboard here. So let's reconnect the keyboard. Sorry, I skipped one step, and this is important if we're going to be removing the screen, which we are very likely going to have to do. Okay, so we're going to get this keyboard cable back in, latch that back in place, Okay, and we're gonna open up the laptop and press and hold the power button for at least 15 seconds to drain any residual power. All right, makes it a lot safer to work on the computer, especially if you're going to be removing the screen LCD LVDS cable connection. All right, because usually the capacitors on there hold a lot of voltage, and you don't want it to just suddenly like spark or arc across and fry something. Usually if you've disconnected the battery and left it disconnected for a while, you're probably going to be okay, but it's always nice to take that extra 15 seconds to do that. And yeah, all right, so we're going to disconnect this again. Sorry for doing that. You probably now are like, oh, now I got to do this again too. But hopefully you're following along and not just skipping all around. All right, so you got that. There's one screw over here on this board as well, so we're going to remove that screw as well. Okay, I'm not going to separate all these little connectors if I don't have to, so hopefully I can just keep them all attached, and hopefully we can lift this out. Okay, I'm going to kind of wiggle it. The headphone jack does protrude out into the case a little, so we do have to kind of pull it back slightly to get this out. Oh, that's pretty gross as well, so let's try and clean that up. Okay, we don't really need to clean the keyboard assembly because we're going to be replacing that, but okay. Blow all the dust out of there. I don't want to leave dust inside of it. Okay, so now we got this lifted up. You have this little bracket for the M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD. All right. Most of these steps, if you want to do like something specific, like the SSD or anything like that, you can usually skip straight to that unless something is on top of it covering it. So sometimes people ask me, do they need to remove all these other components to be able to remove these? And no. And actually this is an empty one. As you can see, there's nothing here. There's a thermal pad there, but there's no SSD here. So if you want to add another M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD, you can. All right, there's this metal bracket here we're gonna have to remove as well. Oh my goodness, this is a lot of screws to remember. All right, so we got that. We're gonna lift this up and slide this out. You can see this has a little notch there that slides in. There's a protruding metal piece that it goes onto. All right, hopefully you guys can remember all these screws. It's a lot. All right, I mean, at least you guys can rewatch my video when you do this. So for me, I'm doing it, and unless I stop the whole recording, I can't just rewatch my video. We're gonna peel this up. I'm pinching between both layers to try and peel up the tape, right? You don't wanna just try and lift from one side if you can help it. You wanna try and do the whole thing. And again, this is the charge port, and to get it out, you would just kind of grab this and you can see, wiggle it and it pops out. But yeah, all right, let's go ahead and put that back in. And yeah, make sure that's nice and tight. Okay, what else do we got here? There's a bunch more screws here. This is gonna be difficult to keep track of, okay? Let's see. Let's zoom out. Okay, I'm gonna have to zoom out so you guys can just see the whole thing. Sorry, I'm not gonna be able to do close-up detail anymore. But yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and remove this. There's a space here, which looks like it's for a 2.5-inch SATA hard drive. And I believe this little connector here, it has a little flip latch. You can probably get a special connector to connect a hard drive here, but yeah. All right, anyways, let's remove the actual SSD here. Okay, so one screw there, one screw here. All right, and now we can lift this metal plate off. You can see it actually lifts the SSD up. So we're gonna lift here, it goes at an angle, and then we can wiggle this to pull and disconnect. We might have to lift this side as well. There we go. And there's the SSD. It's actually kind of sticking to the thermal pad. If you're gonna remove this, you wanna go very slow because you don't wanna just rip that out. So there's the SSD. It's an M.2 PCIe NVMe. All right, so we're gonna set that aside as well. Okay, next, what do we got? We got the fan connector here, and then you got the wireless antennas here. I guess we're gonna have to disconnect this, aren't we? Yep. All right, so we'll peel this up. All right, let's go ahead and disconnect this. I'm gonna avoid disconnecting the antennas, but if you want to remove them, you go from the tail and pull straight up. Sometimes the solder is not too good on these, so I like to avoid removing them if I don't have to. Okay, we're gonna carefully wiggle this to pull that out. and then carefully I'm using the antenna wires to pull it up. I'm going to put this screw here just so I don't lose it, and then we're going to carefully work our way over here to peel this away from the adhesive. And am I going to have to separate this? I have no clue. Probably will. Actually, I think we will. So let's remove the antennas. I don't know if I can't really zoom in. So I'm going to just hold the wire here like this, and I'm going to basically tilt it down like this, okay? Like this, all right? Wow, this antenna is actually holding on tight. There we go. All right, same thing with the black one, just like that. You can actually also just pull up on the tail of the antenna as close to this as possible. But there we go, we got the wireless card out. And actually, I can leave the wireless card attached since we're just taking the antennas out. Okay, so we'll put that back in. It goes in at an angle, goes down. Make sure it's in, like, make sure this little notch is lined up with the raised portion of the screw mount. Otherwise, if you sandwich it between the screw and that, you can actually destroy the wireless card, okay? There we go. All right, let's start removing the other screws here. So we got this screw here. Okay, let's see, how am I gonna do this? We got one screw there. I like to go in rows if I can, just so it's easier to remember. There's a screw. Is there a screw hidden here? Oh no, there's a screw hidden here. We're gonna have to redo the thermal paste. I was hoping we wouldn't have to. That's gonna be a real big pain. Okay, so anyways, I guess we'll go and remove this. Okay, I didn't want to have to redo the thermal paste, but it looks like that's gonna be a requirement. All right, we got one screw over here. Hopefully you'll be able to remember where all these screws came from. They do have little arrows that kind of point to where the screws were. This one has like a hollow arrow, this one has like a white arrow. So yeah, keep that in mind. I'm gonna remove, oh, there's a CMOS BIOS RTC real-time clock battery here and some adhesive holding it down. So we're gonna peel that up. Okay, and there we go. All right, and it looks like it's on a pad as well. What is that? Do they both have that? What is that? Okay, the replacement one has that as well. It's a weird springy pad. All right, so we're gonna kind of move this out of the way a little. Let's see, we got a screw hidden under here where the CMOS battery is. Okay, take that one out. Got another screw down here. Got a screw in the middle here. That's a lot of screws. All right, we got another fan screw here. Another fan screw here. Okay, and the fans actually come separate, but there's this tape. I'm not going to remove that, so we're going to leave that attached. That way the fan's just attached to that. And I think there's only that one hidden screw here. If only I had a way to get in there without taking that out. Can I do it? Oh, maybe I can. Okay, so we got that screw out without taking the whole board out. So let's see if that means I can lift the whole board up. Nope. Nope, it seems like something, oh, there's another screw down here. Don't forget that one. Okay, are there any more hidden screws? It feels like stuff is holding it all down, so there might be more hidden screws. I'm going to disconnect the the fan connector here. So again, using my fingernails at the wings and just wiggle it. You can use like some tweezers or needle nose pliers to do this. All right, wiggle, 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 and there we go, disconnected. This connector has a little loop here. Usually I find these loops don't work too well, but if you can pull it up like that, that works. But usually I'll get my fingernail under the edge and then pry it up as I do that. And yep, there's a hidden screw here as well. Oh my goodness, so many hidden screws. This is a very annoying build. It doesn't even need this many screws. They just do it to screw with you. Get it? Screw with you. All right. So you can see this is kind of lifting now. Okay. What else? Is this side gonna lift, or do I need to remove another screw? Are there more hidden screws under this side as well? Am I gonna really have to? Okay, I do have to take out the heatsink because there's another hidden screw there. So let's go ahead and take the heatsink out, and we're gonna have to redo the thermal paste. I guess for you guys that's good because now you get more tutorial, but I was trying to avoid that. All right, so get these two screws out. Now I underquoted the repair. I was not expecting to have to do that. Okay. Get this out and this out. Jeez, that screw was kind of tight. All right. Get this one out. When removing it, there's no specific order, but when putting it back, they do have a specific order that you want to remove or to put these screws in. Okay. Get this. There's another screw here. And the reason why they have that specific order, it's to help spread the thermal paste evenly. Okay. All right, so there we go. We got all of those out. And this is probably going to be a pain to remove. Usually because all these, the paste and the pads, you kind of have to rotate it a little bit to kind of help release it. Oh, I forgot to show the RAM. So here's the RAM. There's two slots, if you couldn't tell. All right, and you just pull these tabs to the side, it pops up, and then you can go ahead and pull it out like this. And this is an 8 gig PC4 3200 AA stick of RAM. You should be fine with any PC4 3200 AA RAM. So if you want to get two 16 gig sticks, or if they have 32 gig sticks, you should be fine upgrading to that. All right, so there we go. We're gonna take this and put that back in. Put it at an angle, and then you push it in as far as it'll go. I like to like wiggle it and then click it down. All right, so let's go ahead and see if we can remove this. So this is gonna be a pain. Slowly lift. These thermal pads, they like slowly release, so you have to go very slow when lifting or peeling this up. Okay. Oh, okay, luckily the thermal paste doesn't seem to be hardened or anything. It does seem to be releasing, so we're gonna go from this side and also pull up. There are thermal pads here as well. You don't want to pull on these pipes. You don't want to bend those. Okay, so just go very slow. I might have to flip it upside down. Let's see. Hopefully it stays in view of the camera. Okay, looks like it is. All right, so we're gonna carefully pull this up. Slowly. Okay, you can see it's coming out. All right. We're gonna have to disconnect the other fan here as well. So we got the other fan connector here. This one is a black plastic. Peel up the adhesive and then grab that connector and just wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Come on. There we go. All right, now let's go ahead and see if we can lift the whole heatsink up. Again, you want to go slow, very carefully. Oh, there's this adhesive here holding this down. That's why this side didn't want to come up. So make sure to peel that off, out of the way. Okay, and the wireless antennas are going to have to go underneath. All right, so we're going to slowly, carefully lift this up. Looks like it's getting caught here a little bit. Come on, there we go. All right, carefully lift. I'm going to try and grab from here because again, the pipes are a little more fragile. So we're going to carefully lift and then we're going to have to thread this through. It's getting caught on something here. Oh, make sure the wireless antenna, or sorry, not the wireless antenna, this is out of the way. Okay. Oh, they use this pink stuff. Hopefully it'll be okay to reuse because I don't have any of that pink stuff to put back. All right, so we just flipped it over like that for now. Interesting, they put the pink pads here even though there's no video memory there. So this is the GPU, this is the CPU. Okay, you can see they put all these little thermal pads here to help keep it cool. And then that one screw, if it didn't have this one screw here, then we would have been able to take the whole thing out. Okay, so we're gonna set that aside. Now it's gonna be a pain getting all this stuff out, isn't it? Okay, so we gotta lift this out, but it looks like these connectors all protrude out into there. So we're gonna have to lift from this side first. Oh, we also got this connector we need to disconnect, so flip that latch up and then pull that out. It looks like this is held in with some adhesive. We're gonna transfer this board over to the other one first. 2 screws here. That's a lot of screws, holy smokes. Looks like most of the board screws are the same, and then the fan screws are bigger. There was one other bigger screw. I'm not 100% sure where that came from. I'll have to figure it out. Alright, so we got that. We're going to lift this up. This is held in with some adhesive. Try not to just crease this cable. I try and hold it with my fingers and then just pull it straight up. If you want, you can probably put a little bit of isopropyl alcohol there and slowly work it out, but that came out relatively easily. So we got that. We're going to take this board, transfer it over to this new one. Line up the little raised mounts. Oh, you do have to slide this under this little notch here, so slide that under there and then get this side in. I was wondering why it was being a little tricky. Okay, and then now we can get the 2 screws in there. Okay. Also, if you noticed, I like to turn the screw backwards first to hear it click. That way it falls into the threads properly and doesn't go in crooked. Okay. All right. There we go. Let me double check. All right, it clicks. Should be good. Let's set that aside. Okay, next thing, we got the screen here. I'm gonna try and do as minimal removal as possible. So let's go ahead and unthread this from back here. Okay, the wireless antennas are already done. So next we're gonna go ahead and undo the hinge screws. There's 3 hinge screws. They kind of form like a L shape. And then the ones in the furthest corners are empty, so make sure to leave those screws out when you go to put this back. Okay. All right, so there we go. I'm gonna lift these hinges up, just like this. Let's see if I can. Okay, so we can lift these hinges up and out of the way, and now I'm gonna try and remove the entire keyboard assembly. So we're gonna lift this slightly, and then we should be able to, there we go. So now we got this whole thing out of the way. Okay, we're gonna set that aside, and now we're gonna mount the new keyboard. I should clean this all. I'll clean that up later, because if I do it now, all the stuff is attached to it, but I'll clean it a little bit here first. Okay. All right, there we go. Now we're gonna get this, and we're gonna just line it up like that. Have to lift it up and then get that all wedged back in. Hopefully it's in right. Slowly lower it back down. There we go. All right, so we got that back in. We're gonna get this cabling back in as well. If you want, you can brush any dust and stuff that's there out of the way. You can see there was some dust and stuff on the bottom as well, so we'll clean that up. Okay. All right, we're gonna get this cable back in that little groove, and then we're gonna slowly lower this back down. There are these little raised plastic mounts, so make sure when you lower this down that they don't break those off, okay? Slowly lower this one down as well. And line it up, there we go. All right, then we'll get these hinge screws back in. Make sure they're nice and tight, you don't want them to come out. If you want, you can also add some thread locker there. Okay, it still has some of the thread locker, so it should be okay. Okay, make sure that these are nice and tight, good. Clean that stuff off. All right, let's get this side in. Okay, this one there. Perfect. Okay, next we gotta migrate the other boards over. Make sure these cables stay out of the way. Okay, so we're gonna migrate the motherboard and other stuff over. Okay, this cable or this tape, I'm gonna see if I can transfer that over later. All right, so motherboard and this other little board, I'm gonna lift it out. I don't know if I can show this on camera because there's too much stuff going on, but let's see. Also make sure you're grounded so that way you don't damage anything when lifting this. Is there another screw hidden under here? I don't see one. Okay, it was caught on like a raised mount. So we're gonna carefully lift this up, and then like I said, slide this over because these are wedged under there. So there's the old keyboard. Again, we are gonna have to transfer that other piece of tape later. But for now, okay, let me clean off these ports as well because they're also kind of dusty. Okay. And also, if you're curious, this is what the bottom of the motherboard looks like. Not really much to it. Okay, so if you wanted to see that. All right. Next, oh, there's a model number here. I don't know if people would need that, but I think that's like the motherboard model number. Okay, anyways, let's flip this back over. Being very careful, gentle. Make sure these other cables end up back on top like they're supposed to be. Okay, and then again, we are gonna slide this side in first. Make sure everything lines up properly. Make sure nothing is going underneath and getting trapped. Okay. Then, once you make sure it's all lined up, you can slowly lower this all down. Okay. I feel like it's not completely lined up right. Make sure to double check the USB-C board. Okay. Also the plastic mount here, so I have to pull this over a little bit. There we go. Continue slowly lowering it down. Again, make sure these other cables are out of the way and line up everything else there. Okay, so that looks good. Is something not lined up right? It feels like something's not. There we go. Okay, make sure to wiggle it all around and that all the raised mounts are coming through. Okay, so next we're gonna go ahead and put these screws back in. I want to make sure we don't forget these ones that were hidden under there because that's going to be a pain if we have to take that all back out. So we're going to put those first. Okay. You can go ahead and put this connector back in. Make sure that latches up. Line that up. Get that in. Good. And then slide that latch back over. Okay, what else do we got? We got this. We can go ahead and put this in first. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but just line it up. And you're gonna have to wedge this headphone jack in first. Sorry, I'm gonna end up knocking screws out of the way, so I'm gonna be careful there. Slowly get that in first, the headphone jack, and then you can wiggle this to line it up with the raised plastic mount there. There we go. Okay, so we have this screw down here, and then we have the metal bracket that we'll put back on there. Make sure again that the plastic mounts here and up here line up. Oh, did this one not? It is, okay. Alright, so this you kind of have to flex weird to get it to go in. Get this screw in up here. Perfect, and then the one screw down here. Okay, as you can see, I'm skipping all over the place. It's okay, you don't need to do it in the exact same order. All right, we had this thing here, so we're gonna get this back in. It goes here. Oh wait, do we need that metal thing? We do need this metal thing first. So this goes here. I do need to get that adhesive out of the way. Slide that thing back in there. Okay, lower this down. Then we'll get this screw. Oh, okay, you can see. We'll get that screw in. All right, we got the SSD, M.2 PCIe NVMe SSD little cover here. So we'll line that up. Again, these do have like raised bumps, so when you put it, you can see it kind of stays in place. So make sure that you put it back in right. We'll get this screw in. And we'll get this screw in. All right, we got all these little thingies here that we can also put in right now. So we can lower this, line that up. Okay, this touchpad, trackpad cable did go underneath. So let's go ahead and reconnect that first. So we'll get that out. I know, sorry, it zoomed so far out, but hopefully you get the idea. It's basically the same, or the reverse of taking it out. Okay, get that in, and then slide your finger over the latch like that. Okay, don't use something to push it, because I've heard some people do that and then they end up flicking that little thing off and then they can't find it anymore. All right, so let's go ahead now and get this lined up and get this little screw in place. And this little screw in place. Okay, you got the keyboard cable here. Again, make sure to pull that latch down. Then get that in. All right, once you slide it all the way in, make sure you keep holding it in place, and then you can latch this. I do one side at a time and then go back and forth to make sure it didn't unlatch itself. There we go. And then pull both at the same time. So there's that. Okay, then we got the other little board here. Okay, and this one here. All right, we'll pull this latch up, and then same thing. You can use this little brown plasticky tab to help guide the cable into place. Make sure it goes straight in. There's some dust there. Let me make sure to clean that out. Okay. Put that in. Hopefully my head's not getting in the way. Yeah, that's a little tricky. Okay, get that all the way in. And then same thing again, slide your finger over the latch. The CMOS BIOS battery, it has this little springy thing. We're going to stick that back down to that. And then tape that down. I don't know why they put it on this springy mechanism here. It's kind of weird, but okay. And then tape that down. And this tape is here. I don't know why, but it is. All right. Do we leave everything else reconnected? I hope. Okay. I think we got everything else already connected. Let's go ahead and put all the other screws back in minus the heatsink stuff. So let's see here. What did we get? Okay, no, the fan ones will have to wait. We have the 2 fan. Okay, we have this screw here. Okay, what else? These 2. So we got this one here, and this one down here. Okay, and then I think we had 4 more. Okay, so we have this one all the way in this bottom corner. We had all these hidden screws. Oops, I accidentally already put this back. We have to peel this back up because there's one screw that was hidden under there. Okay, now we can go ahead and put this back in. Stick that back down. Okay, got this screw here, and then this screw here. All right, what else? We got the SSD, so we're gonna put that back. Okay. So SSD here, again, goes in slightly at an angle, and then you can lower it. You can see it stays in place. Again, I think this little latch one is for a hard drive to go in the little area down here, down there. Okay, so we got that. Okay, we're gonna line this up. I like to hold this down if I can, and then make sure that's lined up. Slowly lower that and line that up the rest of the way. Perfect. All right. Get this screw in. Hopefully none of this is going to be blocking that stuff because that will suck. And then we got this one here. Okay, so I think that's everything. We're losing some of that pink stuff. I don't know. It's coming out. Okay, so where did that one other random screw come from that I left out? So that's all of these. I have one extra screw that I'm not 100%. We'll see. I'll figure it out once I get all this stuff back in together, I think. 2, 3, 4. Those 2 fan ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Got all the heatsink screws. 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3. That's all of those. Wait, what is this screw? 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it from here? Why is there a big, was that big screw here? It doesn't feel like it. I don't want to screw it all the way in. I might damage something. Or maybe the heatsink. Did the heatsink have that? Oh, the heatsink actually uses that. Okay. All right, so next thing we got to do, we're going to clean off the thermal paste. We're going to reuse these pads. We're just going to put it back on top, but the thermal paste we are going to scrape off. Okay. So I'm going to first start with using this to just get off the majority of it. Okay. Oh, this thermal paste is actually pretty dried, so I guess it's a good thing that we're replacing it. Their computer should actually function a lot better after this. This paste is kind of dried and cracked. Usually it's like a paste, not this dry, crumbly stuff. So, okay. so this will actually be good for their computer. Makes sense, their fans were pretty clogged up, but they didn't complain about thermals or anything like that. Okay. Usually I would actually do this upside down over a trash can, so that way this thermal paste stuff doesn't like go all over. Okay, but since I have this heatsink attached, it's going to be more difficult if I were to try to do that, so we're just going to do it this way. Okay, there we go. Same thing with this side. Scrape off all the excess here. Okay, this one is actually still a little bit pasty, so the CPU probably would have been okay if I just left it. Alright, or it wouldn't be okay. Anytime you take out the stuff, you want to redo the paste, okay? So you don't want to leave old paste there if you can help it, because it's going to leave all these air bubbles. If you are going to leave it, you do want to at least put like a line of paste, so that way when you close it back up, it'll kind of squeeze out all the air bubbles to the outer edges. Okay, so there we go. I'm gonna blow all that extra junk away. Okay, so that's just the dry step. We're gonna have to use some isopropyl alcohol after to get it cleaned up a lot better. So let's scrape this stuff off. Maybe I should use a vacuum to get this out, because it's, you can see it's like crumbling everywhere. Okay, as you can see, this one's not as crumbly. The outer edges are, but the middle's like actually still paste. Yeah, I might have to use a vacuum for this, we'll see. Try and get the edges out. Clean that all up. Okay. Use this because it'll be easier to clean it up. Spatula. All right. Get the excess stuff out. All right. Blow that stuff away. Okay. This, dry wipe the excess first. All right, now we're gonna use some isopropyl alcohol to clean it a bit better. Oh, sorry, I think this was out of your view, but hopefully you got the idea. Okay, so we need that. We're gonna use some isopropyl alcohol. I'm gonna put a little bit on the paper towel here. And we're just going to wipe this. And then use the dry side to kind of dry it off. Okay, same thing over here. Be careful not to push too hard. You don't want to bend the heat pipes. Okay, and dry it off. Okay, you can see all that grossness. Set that aside. Now we need some thermal paste. I think I used all the tubes I have here, so let me go grab one and I'll be back. All right, I'm back. So let's go ahead and apply the thermal paste. So these dies, because they're rectangular, we're going to put like a line across, and that way when it pushes down, it's going to smear it down and then push all the air bubbles out of the way. Okay, so I don't know if there's any left in this tube, but let's see. Oh yeah, there's plenty. Okay, so we're going to go across. And this stuff actually spreads super thin, so you don't need a crazy amount. And that's actually way more than enough, but okay. Let's go ahead and spread it into like a line here. And you kind of want more in towards the center, so that way again, when the thing pushes down on it, it will spread it flat and push all the air bubbles out. Okay, you guys got a better view than me because you're overhead and I'm like off to the side, but there we go. All right, and then we're gonna do this one as well. This one needs quite a bit more. But it should be more than enough. Okay, so same thing. Kind of spread it into a blob. And then the heatsink will push this stuff super flat, so it might not look like that much, but it spreads super, super thin. So yeah. All right, so there we go. That should be good. Okay, now what we're gonna do, we're gonna flip the heatsink back over on top, and then we're gonna screw the heatsink screws back in the order that it's numbered. So let's go ahead and flip this over here. Oh, oops. We do have to make sure to route this cable back over. So let me do that again. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right, let's go ahead now, flip this back over. Just like that, line up the heat sinks here. Okay. Make sure the fan connectors and stuff aren't getting trapped underneath, and the charge port thing is also out of the way. Slowly lower it down. All right. This side is a little tricky, so I think we have to actually get this side in first, or you might have to pull up from the center so it bows inwards. There we go. That actually worked well. Okay, lined up everything. So first thing, I'm going to actually put the fan screws back in. We can zoom in a little bit here. Okay, get the fan screws in first. Make sure it's all lined up. Okay. All right. Yep. Other fan screw. Make sure the fans are lined up well. All right, that one and this one. Okay, now we're gonna get these connectors back in, so line this up and then click it down. All right, simple, straightforward. Line this one up, and then I like to pinch both sides like that to make sure it's even pressure. Tape these down. Okay. I don't remember how this was taped into place, but we'll just tape it down. Okay. All right. All of that's in. Okay, next we have the heatsink screws. So this one actually doesn't even have a number, so I'm gonna put that one first. That's the screw that was like bigger that I was confused about where it came from. I just loosely fit that. I want to make sure to get all the other ones in. So first screw is this one here. So I twisted it 3 times. All right, second screw, this corner here. you can hear, I turn it backwards first. All right, third screw is this one. Fourth screw is over here. Okay, fifth screw is up here. Sixth screw is here. And seventh screw is here. Right, we're gonna go through all of them again. 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 1, 2, 3, then again 1, 1, 2, 3. Let's actually tighten it all the way. 2, tighten that all the way. Right, 3, tighten that all the way. 4, tighten that all the way. Let's actually use my other hand. 5, tighten that all the way. 6, tighten that all the way. 7, tighten that all the way. And this random one, tighten that all the way. Okay, so we got all of that. Wireless antennas. We're gonna lift this back up. Oops, your phone mount's kind of loose now. Come on, stop dropping my phone. Give me a second, I'm gonna fix this. Okay, hopefully it'll hold up now. All right, let's get the wireless antennas back under here. Okay, so through there, it did push down into there. And then we have this, the white wire goes over this way. Okay, and then connects to the one over here. You want to just line that up. So I lined it up by kind of moving around. It actually will catch on when it's right, and then click it down. All right, black wire. Same thing, get that over into this little groove. Same thing, try and line it. There we go. Oh, there we go. And then click it down, right? Come on. There we go. Click it in. Okay, and then we can now go ahead and make sure, make sure that this is all in there. All right, looks good. Take that down. Get the fan connector here. Line that up. And then pull that. Good. I think this was actually underneath the antenna, so get that back underneath there. Not that this tape's even required, but I like to try and keep things the same if I can. All right. All right, so there we go. Got that in. All right. That tape back down. What else are we missing? The speakers. So let's go ahead and get the speakers back up in there. Okay, so speakers. I'm gonna get this side in first. Just line that up. And this has excess here, so I guess it goes that way. Line that, drop that in, push that down. Okay, so this, and over here, drop that in, right, speaker. Make sure that if you take this out, there's a black dot on there, so the solid part goes face up. You don't want to flip it upside down where the metal pins are exposed, okay? So there, and then push that in. That's not the same for every connector. You actually want to pay attention to how it is on each one, but usually from the manufacturer, they'll put these black dots. But if you're getting a replacement one, you want to make sure these, usually since they were bent that way for a long time, they stay that way. So check the old one and then make sure to match it. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get these cablings all back in. So did that go that way or this way? Okay, goes this. It all goes up closer. And get that in that little groove. Okay. Get that in that groove. Okay. This one up there. Oops, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of small, but basically getting it all into these little grooves. Okay, follow this up into that groove. Continue staying up along that route into that groove. Okay, into this groove, going around this screw mount. Okay, into that groove. This one goes around the top of that screw mount. Okay, up and into that. This one, into this one. Here we go. And then this taped up one. Last one. Get that in there. All right, and then we'll tape that down. I think that's everything. We're gonna have to peel off this masking tape stuff that they put there. So peel that off. Actually, did they have it all scratched up? Is that why they put this masking tape? Or is that just how it is? I don't know. All right, anyways. Okay, we'll close this. All that we got left now is the battery and the bottom cover. So, oop, my phone mount, I need to fix that. Okay, hopefully it's not gonna fall out again. All right, let's get the battery back in. So the battery's here. We are gonna have to kind of bend these back down, but anyways, first thing, we'll line up this edge here, and then line up these, and then these should click down. Yep, there we go. Okay, we'll get these two screws in. Oh, we do have to switch back to the PH0 or JIS0 screwdriver. Get that in. And hopefully we didn't miss anything. I think we got everything back in properly. Okay, all those screws are good. That's all good. All right, battery connector. Make sure this tape is up out of the way. Get it lined up again. Make sure that if you're replacing the battery that you have the connector facing the right direction. With the red wires this way, the black wires going towards the center. Okay, and we'll push that in. And we'll stick this tape back on top. And then since this wraps around there, we can go ahead, oops, oh my God. Why won't it hold anymore? Stay up. Okay, so there we go. We got all of that back in. I'm going to switch back over to the PH1 or JS1 screwdriver. I'm not 100% sure if this needs to be plugged back in to turn on right away, so let's go ahead and carefully open this up and then see if it turns on. I do see the keyboard lighting up, and this is starting up, so we should be good to go. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna clean this dust off a little bit for them and put the bottom cover, and we should be good. One thing I would do is also restart the computer one time. I don't know where it's gonna show the username, so I need to make sure I don't show that just in case the customer doesn't want that revealed. All right, so one thing I recommend is restarting the computer one time after you do any big hardware changes. So instead of doing a shutdown, click there and then do a restart. All right, we're gonna restart anyways, and I'm gonna carefully close this. Let's go ahead now and get the bottom cover back on, and we should be good to go. All right, so got here. All right, bottom cover. Line it all up. Starting itself back up. All right, and we're just gonna pinch everything back together to close it up. Okay, just like that. Bring your way all around. Don't forget, there are clips in the middle, so push those back in as well. All right, yeah, we should be good. Double check that everything looks lined up right, and then we'll get all the screws in, and we should be good to go. This one seems to not line up right, so let's see here. What's going on there? There we go. Okay, and this one too. There we go. You have to kind of push this down while you clip it. All right, looks good. Let's get all these screws back in and we're good to go. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys out. This was a tough one. If it helped you, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. There are ways to do that in the description of all my videos. If you can't help out that way, it would help a lot if you could watch a few of my other videos and then like and comment on those as well, because that's what the algorithm likes to see. But yeah, other than that, let's get all these screws back in and we're good to go. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Also, if you don't like watching these computer repair things for fun and you just watch this one video to work on yours, I do have other content, lots of other content, like random reviews of things and other random silly things. So yeah, if you don't like this type of content and you just used it purely to fix your computer, you can check my channel out and see if you like any of my other content. All right, so let's get the last few screws in and we're good to go. All right, hopefully the customer will be happy. That was a lot more work than I was expecting. All right. Last two screws. All right, and we're good to go. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Let's drop this. Bye.